Hey guys, in this video I'm looking at 5 unique autism symptoms that you definitely need to look out for. All that is coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the TheAspieWorld. My name is Dan. I have autism, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia, and I make weekly videos on this type of content. So if you're new around here and you'd like to learn more about that, remember to hit that subscribe button by clicking that notification bell down below. And if you're watching over on Facebook, be sure to give this page a like and a follow to see more videos just like this one. Okay guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the TheAspieWorld, the place where we think differently daily. What's going on, different thinkers? I am stoked to be doing another video yet again with you guys, and I wanted to do this one. It's super fun and I'm loving it. But before we get into that video, I just want to make you aware that I have a free Autism 7 Life Hacks book available for free e-download. It's an ebook. You can download it in the card above here, in the description below, and I'll put it on the end slate as well so you don't forget about it. But it's a free, 7 autism life hacks that you cannot live without. This is an awesome book. I really spent time doing this for you, so it'd be awesome if you check that out. Thanks so much. All right, let's get on with the video. Woo, yeah. Oh, actually, that reminds me, if you want to reach out to me and talk to me and say, hey Dan, I really find your videos annoying, or whatever it is, you can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter, so please go give me a follow. I read and respond to every DM, tweet, comment, and message I get over there, so that'd be super, super dope. So yeah, check it out. All right then, dudes, here we go. 5 top autism symptoms. These are actually really unique ones. So I wanted to write down some really interesting, unique autism traits, I guess, just to clarify that I don't really use the word symptoms, but I know that people are looking for the word symptoms. That's why I put it in the title, but they're actually traits, because symptomatic means that it's curable, but autism is definitely not curable. It's a neurodevelopmental lifelong condition. So that being said, let's get into these specific, unique autism traits. Okay guys, so number 1 is pattern identification. This is really interesting. So people on the autism spectrum usually have a really good eye for spotting patterns in things, like numbers or icons or pictures or patterns of like images. This is really cool. I remember once I did this test, a cognitive test with a psychology study in the university that I went to, and they paid me like, I don't know, £15 to do it. That's probably the reason why I did it, but there's only so much ramen you can get. But I went there and I did this study, and they were just fascinated by the way I could replicate the patterns of these pictures they were saying, and they were just like, whoa. And afterwards they were like, are you on the autism spectrum? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I was like, why, what? And they said, oh, because usually people only get about 10 or 15 of these pattern things. That I did like 46 or something in the time I was given, and they were just like blown away. So because of this, I then realized that people on the autism spectrum usually have an ability to see patterns in things, which is probably why people like repetitive behavior, because repetitive behavior is a pattern, right? And following routines and strict, rigid routines and structure is a pattern, and that pattern is obviously comfortable for people on the autism spectrum, which is a beautiful thing. So pattern identification, like numbers and paintings and pictures and icons and all that kind of good stuff, is because the pattern identification part of the autism brain is like super focused in, and it's dialed in, and it makes you super awesome. So yeah, all right. Let's go on with the next. Okay, so number 2 is speech delay, right? A delay in speech between the ages of like 3 and 10 is very common in autistic people. It's a good indicator that the person's on the autism spectrum, but it's quite unique because people usually develop speech between the ages of 3 and 10. You get a kind of a good speech vocabulary, a big lexicon, and you have like an arsenal of words that you can use to describe what's going on in your life. Because people of those ages between 3 and 10 do a lot of like kiddie socializing, and that socializing, oh, my nose is super itchy, what's going on? So that socializing from those ages is because you're interacting with different kids and you're learning things and you're picking up new words in your arsenal or your lexicon of words. Now, in terms of kids on the autism spectrum and people on the autism spectrum, between the ages of 3 and 10, they'll be like on their own in their room playing like computers or programming stuff or surfing the internet or reading books or listening to documentaries or whatever. And so the whole social thing, the whole building up your vocabulary and lexicon will be very much a delayed afterthought, because it's not something that will interest them because they're not around it. It's not something that they'll pick up. It's something that will happen later on. So a delay in speech and a delay in speech development will definitely go hand in hand with autism. That's why I find it quite a unique trait of autism. Okay, so number 3 is sensory processing disorder. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, sensory processing disorder basically means you have sensory issues when it comes to things like taste and texture and smell and sight and sound and temperature and like clothing and feels and all that kind of good stuff. People on the autism spectrum have big issues with this. Like, they could be looked at as being fussy eaters, they may want to separate things out on their plate, or they could be looked at as being people who wear all their t-shirts inside out so that the tag doesn't stick on the, you know, on the back of the neck and hurt. I mean, give this video a thumbs up if you know somebody wears their t-shirt inside out. You know exactly what I mean. And this is due to something called SPD, or the sensory processing disorder. Now, the most unique thing about this is that sensory processing disorder is pretty much only diagnosable comorbidly, and it's most commonly diagnosed with autism, which means that you can't just get a diagnosis of sensory processing disorder. It can't exist kind of on its own as far as medical science and everything is currently concluded. The only way you can actually experience a sensory processing disorder diagnosis is being diagnosed with something like autism as well. I know it sounds kind of a bit crazy, but you know, bear with me here. The reason I find this so unique is because it has to come hand in hand with autism. So if you are like, you know, if you've seen the other two traits in somebody and then they also have sensory processing disorder, then it's a good indicator to tip you to go, that's quite unique for someone on the autism spectrum. So it makes sense that they would be on the spectrum, if you kind of get my flow. Okay, so number 4 is monotone speech. Now, people on the autism spectrum, when they are speaking, usually speak in a monotonal voice. Now, I have this problem a load of times, but I practice every single day creating videos for all you lovely people, and I almost put on a personality and a persona so I can educate you guys. But if we were sitting down having a conversation about something excessively boring to you but very good for me, it would become a very monotonal conversation, and I probably would be giving you a very monotonal version of my voice, which actually leads me on something else that's really weird. A lot of people say they really enjoy the tone of my voice, which I find kind of mental, but a lot of people think like they could really listen to me all the time. They find it quite soothing and quite nice, which is lovely. Thank you so much. But yeah, actually the last person that said it to me was my friend Saffron Barker, who's also a YouTuber. Big thumbs up for Saffron, she's awesome. But I was talking to her and her dad and Darren, and he's a cool guy, and Darren was saying that him and his wife Wendy, who's another friend of mine, they listen to a video of mine and they're like, wow, my voice is so soothing. But hey, thanks for the love there, guys. That's awesome. Okay, so number 5 is a very interesting one. This is social withdrawal. Now, socializing can be super difficult for people on the autism spectrum, and therefore would result in autistic people removing themselves from social situations or withdrawing from social situations in the first place. Like, if an autistic person is working in an office full of people and the office is like, hey, we're gonna go out for some drinks after work, you're gonna come out, and then the person on the autism spectrum would probably say no and withdraw themselves from that situation, because the social situation combined with SPD, you know, monotonal voice, lack of social understanding, can just become such a nightmare and an overwhelming kind of thought. Like, whoa, the person with autism will just remove themselves from that situation, so they don't have to feel the pain of that, they don't have to feel like the difficulty of it, they don't have to you know, put on a front, they can relax. Because when you put on a front, when you are acting, when you're out, it's called masking, and that is the most tiring thing ever, because you're putting on this front and this persona, and then when you get in, you just kind of like, whoa, you lash out and your brain swells. It's a whole thing. But social situation withdrawal is very common for people on the autism spectrum, so you might notice that somebody on the autism spectrum won't be very social at all and won't want to go out to social things or parties or dinners or all this kind of stuff that you typically find people of a certain age doing, right? And that's all down to being on the autism spectrum, which is fine, it's absolutely fine, but I find it very unique. If you think this video can help somebody, please share it on Facebook and Twitter. If you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up, leave me a comment, I read and respond to every single one, and I'll see you next time, guys. Peace out.